बिस्मिल्लाह रहमान रहीम अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह रब्बिल आलमीन वस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला अशरफिल अंबिया वल मुरसलीन नबीना मुहम्मद व अला आलिहि व सहबिहि अजमाइन रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली अस्सलामु अलैकुम व रहमतुल्लाहि व बरकातुहू. Today we'll start lesson number 6 from production and planning. So today we'll talk about product cost estimate. So we have like 3 topics in this one: product cost planning, cost object controlling, and material ledger. Now, in product cost planning, we actually create the standard cost estimate. When we are manufacturing an item, so we want to know that how much cost we will have on this material or on this product. So this is what we plan first. And then when the manufacturing start, then we start collecting cost on cost object controlling. Now, what are the cost object controlling? It could be a production order, it could be a maintenance order, or it could be any cost object. So, and that happens during the production of the product or during when you are providing the services. Now, the third thing is the actual costing. Now, we start manufacturing the process, cost is happening, the actual costs are recording. Now, at the end of the period, when we do the calculation of that cost, that is what we call actual costing and material ledger. So the next screen will have, next slide will be having detailed information about that. Now, if you see here, we are having product cost planning. Now, product cost planning consists of 2 things. Number one, it is the bill of material. And number 2, the routing. So, bill of material contains list of all material that is required to manufacture the product. And routing has all the steps, all the operations that happens on manufacturing that product. So if these 2 things are available, the SAP system automatically create the standard cost estimate. And then it updates the price. If these 2 items are not available, then what we do is we have to do it manually. We have to enter the value of all materials and the cost happenings at the routings, we have to enter manually. Or if we have these things available on another system, then we have to transfer from that system to SAP to calculate the price or calculate the standard cost estimate. Now, while creating the standard cost estimate, we have to be careful about the value structure. And value structure consists of material price, the activity price, the process price, the overhead cost. So all these things helps you in product cost planning, or it helps you in creating the standard cost estimate. Now, we got the standard cost estimate. When the actual manufacturing start, that is the time when we start collecting the cost on the cost object. Now, what is cost object? Again, cost object is the one that is collecting the cost. It means production order. So, for example, I requested or I requested for a production order that I want 5 bicycles. So this is a production order in the name of Tariq Aziz. Now, any material they will use, they will put that cost on my production order. So at the end of the manufacturing process, all the cost of the material, all the cost of the manpower, all the cost of machines, any overhead expenditures, electricity cost, the gas cost, the equipment cost, everything will be added, all the cost will be added to my cost object, which is my production order. So, and then at the end of that, they will say, okay, Mr. Tariq Aziz, you have to pay for this cost. So when the actual processing or manufacturing starts, we collect the cost on the cost object. Okay, it could be a production order, or it could be a sales order, or it could be a process order, or any other cost object. Now, during this process, the cost object controlling, which is the second part, that focuses on preliminary costing, the costing that we have already planned. And then at the same time, simultaneous costing is also happening. This is what we are doing in the manufacturing. Final costing, we add all the indirect costs. So in simultaneous costing, you can say that all the material cost and direct costs are happening, and the final cost, any overhead cost, that also get added to that particular cost object. And once we have these costs, we can have a planned cost, and then we have an actual cost. So we can see the variance of that cost as well. We do have a period end closing. So period end closing helps in calculating the value of the goods in the production. Okay, at this point in time, what is the cost? When we are closing the books at the end of every month, how much cost happen on this product? So that also gives you the cost. Then we have actual ledger and the material cost. It provides actual cost for each material at the end of the period, at the end of the accounting period, all the debits and credits. So that is what we have, like 3 types of cost. Planning cost, we are collecting the cost, and then we are looking the cost at the end of the period. Now, when we create a cost estimate with the quantity, structure, and the routing, we must enter the costing variants. Now, the costing variants are price, material price, processes price, overhead cost. Now, once we created the cost estimate, we can view the result of this cost estimate. Either we can see the result by itemization, any item wise. Okay, we have this material cost, this is the activity cost, and this is material A or B, or overhead costs. Or we can see the price or the cost estimate account wise, the cost element wise, okay, or we can see through the cost component wise, material cost. And we are doing the grouping of these costs. Now, once we got the cost estimate, where we can consume the cost, we can consume this cost for updating the price. So in material master record, for example, this is my material bicycles. So this price will be updated into that material, standard price. This price will help you in doing the valuation of my inventory. So for example, now the standard price is like $10. Then all my material in the inventory will be evaluated based on that standard price, that is $10. I can use this price in the profitability analysis. I can use this price in the cost object controlling, during the manufacturing. When the actual cost is happening, I can use this cost at that time as well. Any question, guys, here? If you have any question, you can stop me anytime. Huh? Now, we created the cost estimate, guys, and we have seen that we can use that cost estimate during the manufacturing, or during the processing, or during the activities. We can use that cost to update the pricing. We can get the value of the inventory. We can use it in the profitability analysis. We can use that cost or the price into our costing activity when the actual cost of the production is happening. And now, how we can make the price update? So first of all, what we do is we got the standard price. And by the way, this standard price is available in the material master costing tab number 2. So if you open the costing tab and go to the costing tab number 2, you will see the standard price. So if you look at the bicycle, the black bicycle, it will be like €1,400 price. So now there's another thing. The cost accountant, they usually create the product standard cost. They are the one who are responsible for the next year budget, that how much budget is required for manufacturing the items. So they do the estimate based on this quantity structure, any bill of material, the routing, and any other prices, the overhead cost, and all those things. So based on these information, the cost accountant, they create the product cost estimate. Now, imagine if we have like 1,000 items that we manufacture, then how much time they need to calculate. So now with the system, it is very easy to calculate. So once we got the price, we need to update the price into the system so that we can make use of that cost, make use of that price. So what we will do is we will first of all we'll mark the price. So when we mark the price, this standard cost estimate, the new price will be our future price. Okay, we have the current price, but now the newly calculated price will become the future price. And when it will happen? When we'll mark the price. Now, when we release the price, the current price will become the previous price, and the future price will become the current price. And this is the new cost that we will use to use in our manufacturing, use in our valuation of the price of the inventory. We will use this current price into the profitability analysis or in any other cost object controlling. So this is a use of standard cost estimate. Now, so when we update the price, we can use the standard price in our inventory valuation. We can use the price, the newly standard cost estimated price into the for our manufacturing. We can use the cost new price into the profitability analysis. So these are the different uses of our standard cost estimate. Any question before I go for the next slide, guys?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, now we come to the planning product demand. So in the first step, we come to know the standard cost estimate of our product. So for creating this product, this is our planned estimate, the planned cost estimate, that this product will be created or will be manufactured at this price. Okay, so first we got the plan of the product cost. Now we are planning the product demand. Okay, so how much product we have to calculate. So for example, before we got product cost estimate, this product will cost us 1,400 euros. So, and we want to manufacture how many based on our demand. So now we are creating, we are planning our product demand. So how we can create the product demand? We can do it from the previous sales data. We can do the analysis on the historical sales data, and we come up with a forecast for the next month, or forecast for the next quarter, forecast for the next year. So we run the product estimate, and we come to some values that, okay, for January, you need to manufacture 100 items. For February, you need to enter 200 items. For March, you need to manufacture 150 items. So different values we will get for the manufacturing for different months. So what we will do is we will transfer those values to demand management. And that will be our planned independent requirement. Now, remember one thing, this planned independent requirement means that we want to manufacture the item, but we don't have any confirmed order. Yani we will make to stock. We are manufacturing based on our previous history. So last year, this month, we were expecting 100 bicycles. So we will manufacture this year 100 bicycles in January. Last year we got sale of like 200 bicycles in February. So based on previous experience, we will manufacture now 200 bicycles. We don't have the sales order. We are hoping that in future we will be getting these kind of orders. So we make to stock. So whenever we have make to stock strategy, then we create the plan independent requirement. Then we are planning the requirement independent of any, any sales order. And then how we will consume those plan independent requirement? We are expecting some sales order, and then when the sales order will come or the people will come to purchase those items, we will sell them. And then again, these sales order will become the historical data. And that we will use in our next year demand planning cycles. We can also get the requirement, from the plan independent requirement. We may have a sales order, as some customer came and he requested for the manufacturing of like 100 bicycles. So we may have a demand from another plant. We are having like 3 plants, and plant number 2 is asking for this material. And by the way, when we are talking of a plant, and if we are in the sales system, any sales shop can be a plant. So if we have an order from another sales shop, that is again a plant. So we will consider that one as a requirement, and then we'll transfer our stock from one plant to another plant. Instead of manufacturing another material for that particular plant, we can shift the material from one plant to another plant, and that will be treated as consumption. So we got all the requirements, and we pass on that information to the demand program. Whether it is our requirement from the plan independent requirement based on the historical data, or we got a production order like a sales order from a customer, or we got a requirement from another plant, that all will be passed on to the demand program. Now, once we got the requirement from either customer or from plan independent requirement or from another plant, we passed on those informations or those requirement or those numbers to the demand program. Now, what will happen when we pass on to the demand program? Then the MRP will kick in, and MRP will start checking the material which is dependent on that, which is required for the manufacturing. So the net requirement calculation is executed in the planning run to determine whether there is a material shortage or there is no material shortage. So it will check the shortage of material. And it will also check the firmed receipts. Okay? If there is any firmed receipt that currently exists. Firmed receipt, for example, the purchase order. Is there any purchase order that we have already issued and we didn't receive the material? That will be the firmed receipt. Or any purchase requisition, or any plan order. Plan order is for manufacturing the item. Do we have any plan order or purchase orders or purchase requisition that we didn't receive the material yet? That will be used in the calculation, and we will treat it as we are having the material, because we issue the purchase order. We have to get it in any case. So the system, the MRP, will check how much is the safety stock available, how much is the stock available, how much we have the formed or receipts, how much is the purchase requisition or plan order. So based on that, if the quantity available is lower than zero, then material shortage exists. And MRP will react to that shortage, to that material shortage. How it will react? It will start creating the purchase requisition or purchase order, or it will start creating the plan order. Maybe this raw material that we need in this manufacturing, we are the one who is producing, in another plant. So it will create a plan order. And this whole manufacturing depends on the lot size. If you see here, this depends on the lot size. Yani, if our manufacturing is designed for 100 items, the lot size is 100, so we will manufacture 100. Whether we need 10 or 15 or 20, if the material shortage is there, then we will go for 100 items minimum. Okay. Now we are running the material requirement planning, MRP. So MRP will run on, we can go for total planning, either online or as a background job. And total planning means we want to make a total planning for one plant or for all plant. Okay. We can run the total planning online or as a background job. When we run as an online, it will be like an interactive. You can pass on some parameters, pick and choose some parameters, and then it will give you the result accordingly. We can run it as a background job. It will keep on running based on some predefined parameters, and it will give us the planning total. Now, if you go for the total planning for a plant, it checks all the material that is related to MRP, that is MRP relevant. Yani we have added those material into our MRP for MRP, that okay, whenever we do for manufacturing of these items, please check for these material availability. So any material that is relevant to MRP will be, included in that total planning run. You can do the planning for one plant, or you can do the planning for many plants, more than one plant. We can plan the individual material. Okay, so we can execute the single item planning run for all BUM levels. And by the way, actually, we have like all the BUMs are a single level. Inshallah, in the next few slides, we'll see that. So all BUM are single level, but it is possible that one of the component of the bill of material has another bill of material. It is possible. So that is why we are saying that we can execute a single item planning run for a specific material for all levels. We can also have a single item planning run for single item, for single level. We are not going for, suppose if we have a component and that component has another bill of material, we will not go for the second level or third level or fourth level. We'll just go for one level of planning. And then we have like, you can execute a single item planning run for interactive planning for a material. So actually, what we are doing is we are running an MRP program either for single level or for multiple level or with the help of, or the interactive one, that we can pass on some parameters, and based on those parameters, system will do uh, the MRP. Now, um, from exam point of view, this is very important slide. You may have a exam question in the certification exam from this slide. And this is also a very important slide. Maybe 2 or 3 questions may come from this slide as well. Now, when we are running the MRP, we have like some control parameters, and we are talking about the interactive one. So we can use one of these keys. We'll talk about these keys on the next slides. So what will be the output of that MRP? When we create the MRP, you can create its system will create the purchase requisition. Okay. System will create the purchase requisition based on these parameters. If you type 1, and if you choose the 1 value, it will create the purchase requisition. If you choose the 2 value, it will create the plan order. Okay. If you choose 3, it will create the purchase requisition. Purchase requisition within the opening period. And if it has to create the plan order, it will create the plan order outside the opening periods. When we talk about the period, basically we're talking about the accounting periods. So maybe purchase requisition will be created with option number 3 within this month. Plan order, if it creates the plan order, then it will be the next month. You can think like that. When you run the MRP, it will create the purchase requisition, or it will also create the schedule line as well for that purchase requisition. Schedule agreement, schedule line. We want the material, for example, 100 items. We need it, but we don't need 100 items all at once. We need like 25 in first week, 25 in second week, 25 in third week, and 25 in the fourth week. So the system will generate the schedule line as well. Again, with this option, if you say number 1 means do not create schedule line, yani all the items you want all at once. If you go for the option number 2, it will create the schedule line for this month only, within the opening period. Yani on the 30th, if you are closing the period, then it will create the schedule line before the closing of that day. So within the opening period, it will create. If you choose the option number 3, then it will create the schedule line in the planning horizon, in the planning plant, or whatever the planning dates you have. So similarly, we go for the create MRP list. So if you choose this option, it will create the MRP list. So it's up to you. If you choose the option number 3, that means you're not interested in MRP list. You say okay. And this MRP list will be a static report. And if you run this MRP today, it will create an MRP list for today. So maybe tomorrow you withdraw the item, or this list is like, is a static list. It will not change. It will not get updated. It is just like you printed the paper and you kept it with you, and the material is going, people are using the material, consuming the material. You will have no information on that piece of paper. So this is like that. You may have any, you can create the MRP list with option number 2. And that depends on some exception message. So what could be the exception message from the stock requirement point of view? Could be delay, you are expecting the material and material is not available. You have the firm receipt, firm receipt, yani, you said, okay, start the manufacturing because we have this much purchase order in line. And what happens? That purchase order got delayed. The material is not available and we started the manufacturing. So this system will create, based on that delay, this will, depending on that, it will react to that. So we have delayed sales order or delayed production order or some missing parts, so these kind of exceptions message will be. Then we have a planning mode, guys. Now, for example, in the planning mode 1, this planning mode again is for MRP. We are looking for the material, whether this material is available or not. So you can make the planning run if you go for the option number 1. If the requirement is changed, before you had like order of 100 and then all of a sudden they say, no, my requirement is like 50. So if this is the case, then you need to choose option number 1. Changes in the dates, before I need this order on 25th, now I need this order on the 30th. So you got a change in date. So you can do the planning run. Planning mode is 1, and then you can, before you, there's a change in the lot size, for example. Before you were having a lot size of 100, now all of a sudden you come to know that now you need to have purchased 200. The lot size is 200. So if this is the case, then you have to run it again, the MRP, because now the calculation will be according to the 200 materials, 200 lot size. So if there is any change in dates or quantity or in requirements or in lot size, you will be using option number 1. In option number 2, you have to re-explore the BOM and routing. For example, you're manufacturing a material and material is required, it has a bill of material. Bill of material contain all list of material that is used in that manufacturing. So if there is a change in that bill of material, then you will go for the option number 2. Maybe there's a change in the assembly. We are using that assembly into our manufacturing. One example could be, for example, we are using the tires, the wheel in manufacturing the bicycles. So we have a tube and the tire, but now there's a change and this tire and tube will be replaced by tubeless tires. So there is a change in the assembly now, or you can say there's a change in the material now. So the option number 2 will be used in this case. Now, option number 3, you can so change the cause of planning. Like, first of all, you have to delete all the old planning and we have to recreate the whole planning. And you can, planning mode 3 to be set, for example, in-house production time, or if there's a change in the in-house production time or planned delivery time. So if these are the situation, then you you go for planning mode option number 3. So yeah. So this is very important slide from the exam point of view. They may ask you questions about these control parameters, 2 to 3 questions I'm expecting. This is also very important from the exam point of view. These are the processing keys. When you are when you're passing all these parameters, at that time you pick one of them. So if you pick this one, NEUPL, this is so you are planning for all MRP relevant material. This is like so the system plan all materials in the plant. So this is useful when you are running the MRP for the first time. So it will not care about anything. Uh, uh, it will regenerate everything from the scratch. So net change planning in this in net change planning, you can say that we did the MRP run, but in the meanwhile, what happens? We did some issue goods, or we got some new sales order, or there was a change in BUM structure. So, but we have to do the MRP again, Suppose before I was having one sales order and I did the MRP run, and that was fine. And I found there is no shortage and I start manufacturing. I'm still in the manufacturing process, and then I got sales order number 2 and sales order number 3. So now I have to do the planning of all material which are MRP relevant, because we have the changes, and changes like we have new sales order, or we change in the BM structures, or we issue some goods. Similarly, we go with the third option when with net change planning in the planning horizon. Planning horizon is like a plant, or it could be a group of plants. That is what our planning horizon is. System only takes into account the changes that are within that planning horizon. If the material that is related to that plant, only those material will be, taken into account for the calculation or for recalculation, whether they are enough available or not. Any material that has changed, or some MRP relevant changes have been made within that planning horizon, only it will care about those. This one is one of the shortest, run. It will not take time. The first one will take a lot of time, because it is planning all materials. But this one, only those material which are subject to change. And we withdraw some material for some reason, and then so we'll be using this option for the planning one. Now we have like stock requirement list. This program will give you, this is a dynamic program, and it will run and it will give you the output of that particular list of the material. It's not like a MRP list. MRP list is like you run the material, you got the MRP list, you got the material list, but any changes happen to that, you will not come to know on this one. But current stock requirement list, it will give you the updated list until the last moment. So the latest information is available in the current stock requirement list. These are the different displays option of the stock requirement list in your personal settings. So different displays options are there. You can go for the period total, weekly, monthly. based on different dates, ability to display various dates. For example, availability of the dates, receipts dates, when the material was received or when will be the material available. You can analyze the capacity of the situation, whether capacity is available for our manufacturing, or our machines are available or not, human resources available or not. So all those kind of options you can check here. System can display the available capacity or total capacity requirement, or all these things are available in this current stock requirement list. So we have like now production order process. So inshallah, we'll do this production order process in our next class. So this is like unit number 10. Yeah, last 5 or 6 units, inshallah, we'll be doing in the next class. So we'll stop here onto this function of the current stock department list. So any question, guys?